expert system, and we were at the end of the topic. We had discussed the feature. We were discussed the components. We had taken light of the various three components. It has three components: the stages of development. We had also thrown light on the stages of development, uh, they being natural language processing, robotics, and then expert systems. The features were also discussed. Referring to the example of mycin, we said that it works with incomplete information and elicits information from the person. So it works with incomplete information, then it works on consultation because it is a peer. It cannot work and decide on its own. Then it uses a certain inference strategy, that is a sequence of steps before you arrive at a conclusion. Then the benefits also we had thrown light on. So these are the critical features of expert system. It works with incomplete information, works on consultation, as a peer, uses an inference strategy to come to a conclusion. The benefit is it captures expertise of one individual. So it can capture expertise of more than a group of experts, a group of individuals. It has the capacity, it can outperform the working capacity of a human expert. Then it is more faster, quicker, and more consistent. A human being will feel fatigue, it'll get tired, but this is not with an expert. Then it can pull in knowledge of various experts. It does not get stressed, distracted, or tired. Then you can preserve and reproduce this knowledge, while for a human expert you cannot preserve and reproduce because like for instance, when an individual leaves an organization, whatever knowledge or expertise he has goes with him. So it is not retained in the organization, but in a software you can retain it and also reproduce it. However, it has certain limitations. It has a limited focus. So human beings can think on a variety of ways. It can have capacity of having domain knowledge of various areas. You can have knowledge of various domains, various areas, but this has a limited focus. Then human beings can learn on its own. A software cannot learn on its own. There's inability to learn on its own. Then there are maintenance problems also. Then there is high development cost. The cost for development of an expert is very high. Then it only solves specific type of problems in a specialized subject domain, in a limited domain. And it fails when broad knowledge base is required, when you have to elicit information, integrate information from various areas to decide. It will not be able to work. So these are its limitations. It has limited focus. It has inability to learn on its own, but a human being can learn on his own. There are maintenance issues. Development cost is very high, and only solves specific types of problems in a limited domain. And it will fail when broad knowledge base and subjective problem solving is involved. Now, we have also thrown light on the development of expert systems. There are four methods: rule based, where case based, forward chaining, and backward chaining. Under rule based, it's kind of a if then analysis. Like if uh, salary drawn is 1 lakh 30,000, if years of service left is say 15 years, using these two we can calculate the equated monthly installment. That is, if you take a loan, how much would be the repayment per month. So this is based on certain ifs. What is the salary? If salary is so and so, if years of service left is so and so, this would be the EMI. So it is based on a kind of a if then analysis. Case based is we take up a similar case, see the reasoning analogy there, and depending upon the similarity between the two cases, we derive a solution. And then we also took up forward chaining, wherein we start with facts. Like we said, I have a headache, it's kind of a migraine throughout the day, it is associated with nauseatic feeling, so on and so forth. Go on collecting facts. This is my age, I'm allergic to a certain drug. So you go on collecting facts, and then you devise a prescription. In a backward chaining, we decide on a goal. We decide, okay, this is his problem, and we try to uh, we work backwards to support it with facts. So these are the four methods of development. The participants are, there is a domain expert whose knowledge is being captured. So if it's a mycin, it must have been the knowledge of a certain individual or a group of individuals who depict or tell you how they work, and then how the mycin is developed. So it is, one is a domain expert whose knowledge is being tapped, is being captured. Second is the knowledge engineer, the person who is trained in design, development, implementation of and maintenance. So he's the person who writes the software program. He designs it, he develops it, and also looks after the maintenance of this expert. And the third person involved is the user. That is a person who benefits by using this knowledge. So the person, like in a primary health center in US, it's the doctor who's basically using. So he's the knowledge user. So there are three participants: domain expert, knowledge engineer, and knowledge user. Then the languages used are Lisp and Prolog. Lisp is a short for list processing, and Prolog is a short for programming and logic. Now we have discussed the use of expert system. We have discussed what is an expert. It's any system which mimics or emulates human behavior, human expertise. It has three components. Then there are three level stages of development: natural language processing, robotics, and finally expert systems. Then the features are: they work on consultation, it works in complete with incomplete information, works on consultation, it uses a certain inference strategy. Then we have discussed the methods, and we have discussed the areas where it is used, like in scientific field, medical science, then oil drilling, to identify the structure of compound, chemical compound, so on. It has limited use in management science. Now, I would like to know from you why you think it has limited use in management science. Anybody can answer that? Yes, why do you think it has limited use in management science? Anyone? Uruj, Fatma, I can see some names: Riza Hayat, Omar Mustafa, Arma
Ma'am,
Bani,
because
Pratika.
actually
Yes.
management is concerned with dealing with humans. So basically, a software or a program cannot be expected to have the same human skills that a manager is supposed to have.
Would do they deal only with humans?
I
We
mean,
deal with
I like this
inventory.
is the reason that comes to my mind as of now.
Okay, Arma. Okay, fine. That's well said. Okay, to a large extent, human beings, we are dealing with human beings in management science, and possibly a software would not be able to work like a human being or interact, communicate. Okay, anything else? Any other reason?
Ma'am, a technology, a software can't fill the gap. A human mind can fill it with his natural instincts. A software is designed to do certain tasks, but it can't fill a gap if there comes out of its own information system.
Okay. Any other reason? Yes. See, what Arma said, she said, because we deal with human beings, okay, largely we are tackling human beings. But let us see if we divide it into four areas, that of operations, human resources, then marketing and finance. Uh, HR is the area which deals with human beings. Some of the areas in HR can be tapped, can be programmed, like training needs, identification of training needs. It's something you can feed in. The person has so much experience, this is his qualification, and these what does he need require training. It can be a little bit can be developed in the form of a software. But we also have finance, should a loan be given, which does not need human interference at all. We also have inventory. Okay, we have finance. Should we give loan to this particular company, something called credit analysis. So this is something which can be tapped and developed in the form of a software. Should we promote this product, or the new areas we need to explore, we need to enter the market. So these are something which can be programmed, not necessarily, it does not involve human beings. So there are many areas like finance or marketing or operations which does not involve the use of human beings. interaction of human beings. So Arma's query or justification would not totally satisfy, because there are three other areas that we deal with in management science. Okay, Umar says that possibly there are certain critical issues that cannot be handled by software. Fine. Any other reason? Yes,
Ma'am,
any
the
other
fields
reason?
of management that you just mentioned, ma'am, they are basically the answers to those questions are basically based on collection, analysis, and evaluation of data. So, in those aspects, we can definitely use various information softwares to get our
But
answers.
yet,
But
why is it that it has limited? We also don't use it for credit analysis or in the area of finance or in the area of marketing. Why is it that we have limited use in general as
maybe
compared to
because
scientific field? Yes, yes,
maybe
Arma.
because business has a very dynamic environment. It is prone to changes, and therefore,
Exactly. That is the main reason. Changes in other field, medical science, or okay, there are also development there. The changes are not as swift as it is in management science. So, what were the rules of the game yesterday? Are all defied. They all denied. They all defied and said to be wrong today. So the change in management science is so swift. You will go every moment you'll need to update it. So what was right yesterday, what were the rules of the game, how we were successful yesterday would not might not work today. So the change pace of change in management science is so rapid, it is so swift. We say there is no constant, but change is the only constant in management science. So you think the level of updation that we have to do every other day, the rules of the game change, and every other day we just have to sit and update it. We have to sit and update, and the updation cost is very high, or the need for updation is too fast as compared to any other science. It is not as swift as it is in management science. So, this is one of the major reasons. Yes, one of the major reasons, because the changes in management science is so swift, it's so rapid, it's a dynamic field, and therefore we have to go on updating, and updation cost, as we said, development cost, updation cost is very high. And we cannot go on sitting and changing, and then by the time we learn to use it, again the system changes, the entire rules of the game changes. So it's this is one of the major reasons. Yes, any other? Yes, it is something to do with our thought process. I'm giving you a hint. Arma, Anam, you can try. Zishan, Omar. I can see some names. Kratika, Uruj. Yes.
yes, ma'am. Again, if we are concerned with changes, then a human mind can perceive situations in different ways. Whereas if we are relying on a software, then it is going to proceed with the outcome in a specified manner only.
Okay. Arma, we did mention hunch. If you remember, when we talked about components, we talked about the knowledge base, which consists of uh, certain facts, a certain knowledge domain. Then it consists of a knowledge base which has a knowledge domain, focused knowledge. Then it has certain facts like age, earning per share. They act as facts for which there are no two values. Then third component was hunch. So what you're talking about, a person will have one. He perceives a thing in a different way, and therefore he evaluates or works in a different way. So that is what we call perception, or what we can term as a hunch. Rules, thumb rules that we use. Like I said, for me, maybe my experience says that girls are more serious workers. Okay, so I might be wrong, but that is my hunch. But even that hunch is programmed in the software. It is fed into the software. So that actually is not the reason, because we are using the hunch, or we are using the our pattern of thinking also in your knowledge base. We are trying to convert it into a knowledge base. Yes. The human aspect that I'm talking about is, we as human beings are sort of, we have a feeling that how can a machine do the work which we do? The reasoning or the analogy that we use to come to a decision, how can a machine decide? How can a machine decide? So we are very skeptical about the use of systems, which would be thinking like us. How can there is a skeptical attitude for the use of software, for doing the work which we have been doing, for doing at least the mental work. If it's a a routine work, then okay, fine, we were willing to give ahead, give way to the software. So there's a skeptical attitude, like how can they think the way we do? So that's we therefore we do not encourage. And along with it, there's a scare that it might replace us, because if it does the thinking work for us, then we will become obsolete. So it's a skeptical attitude. It's a kind of a fear that it might replace us. Okay, so one was updation cost would be very high because changes are very swift. This is a skeptical attitude. Third is the cost is very high. Since the cost is very high, we do not rely. Is it going to be worth it to install the system? And we wait for what we call success stories to be publicized. We wait for success stories to be publicized. So we wait to hear that somebody has come up, has used a software, say a credit analyzer, and he has gained success. So we wait for success stories to be publicized. But if they are my strength, I would not disclose my strengths to others. So if a company has really benefited by using credit analyzer or by any other software, they're not going to let the competitors know. So it's a wait and see attitude. We wait and see, wait and watch for other companies. We wait and watch to come to hear of success stories, and success stories are never publicized. So what are my strengths? What are the rules of the game that I use? I'm not going to, what is the secret of my success, I'm never going to share with others. So we wait. That wait and see attitude is there, like let success stories be publicized, and it is never so publicized. So these are the major reasons. There's a skeptical attitude that how can a software work the way we do. Second is, there's always, along with it, there's a fear of replacement. If a software, like we said, in primary health centers in US, they don't need place specialists there. It's a software is doing the work. So there's always a slight fear of replacement, that they might replace us, and that is also why we develop a skeptical attitude, and we don't encourage the use of experts. Third is the wait and see attitude for success stories to be publicized. That's another reason. And the changes are so swift, which is the major reason. And because of which there will be a constant need for upgrading or updating that particular software. And the development and the updation cost is very high. And by the time it is updated and you start using it, again it becomes obsolete, because you again further need to, there are change in the rules of the game, and you need to further update it. So these are the major reasons. There are very few expert systems being used in management science. So we were over with expert system. We started with what is an expert system. We went through the components, the stages of development: natural language processing, robotics, and expert system. We call it a colleague. It's a colleague, which is a second level because it works on interaction. We discussed the features. We discussed who are the users. Then we discussed the languages and also the method of development, its benefits, its limitations, and its limited use in management. Now we move on to another topic. So this is as far as expert systems is concerned, and we have discussed the other issue, various aspects of an expert system. Any query anybody has with reference to this before I move forward?
Ma'am, about the point of fear of replacement, ma'am, actually, eventually, man is the master of machine. So, I mean, I don't think it's even justified that we are afraid to be replaced by some machine.
Yeah, no, see, some of the areas we don't mind if it is doing the boring work for us, else assembly line operation, we don't mind sharing, let the machine do it. But then where would we be if even our thinking work is being done by them?
So,
So
ma'am,
that's,
can we say that we have to blend this idea of man and machine? Like, we can just blend it. We can't totally replace machines or humans. We have to have a blend, right?
see, if even if you talk of automation in the plant, when you talk of automation in the plant, there are workers who are going to be replaced, right? So the workers have a scare, they have a fear that if there is automation, then we will become obsolete, we might be thrown out of the organization. Okay, so we have to think of how to retain them. So that becomes a issue. And what we try to do is we try to train them so that the question of um, uh, doing away with them, laying them off, lay off of human beings does not take place. Okay, so even in the automation stage where it is the workers at the plant on the behind the assembly line, they have a certain fear. Management is not affected, so they encourage automation. And okay, they ensure them that you would not be laid off, or you'll be trained and retained in the organization, and maybe you'll be put somewhere else, etc. But management have a fear because they have that psychology, like, okay, as long as it's automation in the plan, it's fine. But some software is going to do the work for us. See, helping us, assisting us is different. Giving us a solution, we feed the data and they churn the data and tell you, okay, this is the final output, or this should be the amount of loan, that is okay. But if they start doing the thinking work for us, its psychological fear will be there.
Ma'am,
It's natural.
ma'am, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Ishan.
Ma'am, our next class has started. Sir is waiting in the lobby for
Whose
this
class
class.
is it? Asif?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am, Dr. Asif, sir.
Dr. Asif Singh.
Yes, sir.
fine.
Yes,
I think
ma'am.
there was a lot of time and connectivity issues, and I won't start a new topic now. I take it over on Monday.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, students. And any query you have with expert systems, let me know before we begin the next class.
Okay, thank you so much,
Sure,
ma'am.
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
ma'am. Thank you,
Assalamu
ma'am.
alaikum, ma'am.
Thank you, students.